Avi? Oh, hello. Well, I don't know what to say to you. Congratulations. Okay, I'll congratulate you, and I love you, and you're making me very proud of you.
Hey.
And what? And you're a handsome young man, and an intelligent young man, and you're a blessing.
Oh, Avi, we're very proud of you. We're very glad you're finally going to be bar mitzvahed, and that all this will be over with, and that we won't have to bother you anymore about your laning. And what? Oh, and yes, you've become very mature. You're trying anyway. Do you have anything to say for the microphone?
No.
Nice. So you love him very much.
Okay, I love you very much.
What else?
Okay, he's a very handsome young man.
Speaking to the microphone.
And the microphone doesn't work.
What?
It doesn't work.
It does work.
It's working into the camera.
Oh.
Pretend you're on stage giving a concert.
Then I sing.
Sing into the microphone.
Okay, talk to Avi. Don't show your legs. Don't show your legs. Come on, Ephraim, say something nice about Avi.
Now you could, yes,
Oh,
song.
ABC song.
No.
It's got that.
Hit it. 1, 2, 3. Hit it. Did it? Did it?
All of a sudden you're camera shy.
Now he's camera shy, right?
Do I have to lie?
No, you have to lie. That's right.
Okay. I thank you very much for this very expensive bar mitzvah.
Let's not get too personal.
Okay. And you're very swell people. And I appreciate your big gifts.
Big gifts.
And I have no more to say.
Any.
I don't have any more to say. Here are my two grandparents, Morris and Ruth Ellman.
Give it to Buddy.
Avi, it's almost unbelievable that you're 13 years old, because I can remember very plainly the night that you were born. I hope all your life that you are as happy as you are today.
Avi, you remember when you came to Chattanooga with Shammai?
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember about the trip is your visit is every time you thought Shammai might be ready to act up, you called him into the bedroom for a conference. And you all stayed in the bedroom for 2 or 3 minutes having this conference. And after the conference, you all came out, both of you had smiles, and Shammai did not act up. Do you remember that?
You must have beat him over the head.
Of course, I also remember when we took you and Yossi on a motorhome trip. Now, we had a good time, but you sure teased Yossi all the time. You played practical jokes on him. He thought his skin was peeling with the stuff you gave him. And we caught on real fast because we didn't use that foamy black toothpaste that you had prepared for us. And Yossi still remembers where you called him God's gift to women, with all the girls chasing after him. But I also remember that when I wrote you afterwards and asked you about your love life, you told me that Yossi may be God's gift to women, but you're the one that gets all these women. Do you remember? Oh. Now that you've attained the age of bar mitzvah, wish you mazel, all kinds of luck, success in life, and I'm sure we'll have some good times together again.
We can go on another trip together, so I can tease Yossi some more.
Okay.
Here are my grandparents, Bobby Menja and Zadie Leibel, or Yossi Konstam.
You know who Leo C. Constant is?
Now I do.
Now you don't. No. Why you said you have a friend, Leo C. Constant, and you don't know who this is? He said, you said this is a good friend, and he is sure related to your mother. This is true?
Very true.
Say this stuff.
Yes. So this is the story about my grandson with years back. When he started to receive letters from a trust, and he didn't know at the time what a trust means. He received every 3 months, whatever it is, a letter from the lawyer with the name Leo C. Constant, which he couldn't understand who the man like Leo C. Constant is. So he ran and here he receives every time another letter from the same place with much money. So he ran to the mother and asked and said that it must be to mother related, but the name is Constant, because a man with the name Leo C. Constant sends him letters to him in his name that so much and so much money is put away, and if he wants, his wish is to withdraw a part of it to let him know. So, of course, the mother explained to him that Leo C. Constant is labeled Constant, his Zadie. And that was a big shock to him.
You know me only by Zadie label.
I used to think that you're only Zadie Libel, but then I realized that you're Leo C. Constant. So I had a friend and a grandfather at the same time.
Friend and a grandfather.
You can't make it. It's a song.
Baby, give me a kiss. Oh, I can tell.
We came from Los Angeles to be here with Avi in the celebration, and we're glad to be here, and we're looking forward to it.
We're the Scott family from Memphis, and Avi visited us on several occasions that Avi visited us. He and his cousin Yossi made one good pair. One incident brought to my mind is when we were visiting them up in New York, and there was a blackout, one of the many blackouts in New York, and Avi was running around a coffee table, playing hide and go seek, and he ended up tripping and knocked out his front 2 teeth.
Which they say, remember, we ran back to the dentist, and I don't think they were able
We had the teeth. No, we had the teeth, but they couldn't put them back in.
This is Cousin Lynn from Los Angeles, and we're absolutely thrilled to be able to share this occasion. And Lonnie, take it.
I'm Aunt Lonnie, and let's see, we're from Atlanta, Georgia, and there's 5 of us here. And I remember one cute story when Yossi, my nephew, decided to teach Avi how to walk. And he felt that if he had a new cousin, his cousin could walk. So he grabbed him by the hand. He was standing up by the chair and decided, let's go, and dragged him clear across the room for about 15 feet. And this is Donnie, who's dying to pull the microphone. But let's let Yossi talk. Okay, let's give it to Yossi.
I'm Cousin Yossi from Memphis. Okay, Avi, I have no guilt left. I should, but I will get you back for what you did to me on the camping trip. I'll get you back one of these days. On the camping trip, what you did to me wasn't funny.
What did you do? Tell him.
Well, the first day we started off, we were on this very bumpy road, and I ended up in the bathroom with all these bumps started, and he said, "Watch out, here comes another bump! It's a sharp turn!"
In the bathroom, didn't he?
Yes.
With the soap.
Then the next day, he decided, in the morning, I was looking for my soap, so he, nice guy, decided to give me the soap. But the thing is, this soap built up on my skin, and I felt like I was peeling for 20 minutes until he decided to say, it's fake. And then I didn't learn from them. The next day, he gave me the toothpaste, and that was the worst. This toothpaste was slime. And when we ended up calling his mom wasn't, she knew it was Avi. True.
He's prepared for you this time.
I'll get you back.
Shemai's going to. Come on,
Shemai's going to say something.
Avi, you probably don't remember us, but we're your aunt and uncle from Detroit.
I'm happy to be visiting you at your bar mitzvah and see you growing up all these years to be a nice young man.
Hi, I am Avi. I'd like to show you my father's clock. It says here, to our coach, Neil D. Ellman, we will always remember and be grateful for the time spent with you during our years on the Yeshiva University wrestling coaching staff. Your dedication will always be an example to all of us in the years to come. Nathan Schweitzer and David Siegel, May 10th, 1982. This is a little statue that was dedicated to my father for his coaching, and it was presented by the wrestling team. Hi, this is Avi again. Now that you've heard my family, you will be able to hear me laying like I would on Shabbos. לפניכם היום ברכה וקרבה את הברכה אשר תשמעו של מצוות אדוני אלוהיכם אשר אנוכי צווה אתכם היום בהקללה אם לא תשמעו על מצוות אדוני אלוהיכם וסרתם מן הדרך אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום ללכת אחרי אלוהים אחרים אשר לא ידעתם. והיה כי יביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר טבע שמה לרשתה נתת את הברכה על הגריזים ואת הקולה על היבל הלא המה בעבר הירדן אחרי דרך מבוא השמש בארץ הכנעני יושב בערבה מול הגלגל אצל אלוהים מורה כי אתם עוברים את ירדן לבוא לרשת הארץ שאדוני אלוהיכם נותן לכם וישתם אותה וישבתם בה ושמרתם לעשות כל חוקי ואת המשפטים אשר אנוכי נותן לפניכם היום אלה החוקים והמשפטים אשר תשמרון לעשות בארץ אשר נתן אדוני אלוהי אבותיך לך לשתה כל הימים אשר אתם חיים האדמה הבית עבדון את כל מקומות אשר עבדו שם הגויים אשר אתם יורשים אותם את אלוהיהם על ההרים הרמים והגבעות ותחת כל עץ הענן וניתצתם את מזבחותם ושיברתם את מסעבותם ואשר הם תשרפון באש ובצלילי אלוהיהם דגדיון ואיבדתם את שמם מן המקום ההוא לא תעשון כן לאדוני אלוהיכם כי אם אל המקום אשר יבחר אדוני אלוהיכם מכל שבטיכם לשום את שמו שם ושכנו תדרשו ובאת שמה והבאתם שמה עולותיכם וזבחיכם ויית מעשרותיכם ויית תרומתיכם ונדריכם ונדבותיכם ובכורות בקרכם וצונכם ואכלתם שם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם ושמחתם בכל משלח ידכם אתם ובתיכם אשר ברכך אדוני אלוהיך לא תעשון ככל אשר אנחנו עושים כל היום איש כל הישר בעיניו כי לא באתם עדתה אל המנוחה ואל הנחלה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך ועברתם את הירדן וישבתם בארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיכם מנחה אתכם והניח לכם מכל אויביכם מסביב וישבתם בטח
Mazel tov, Yosher Koach. You said you're on the Chaitz now. Don't worry about it. It was very good. I hope tomorrow that you finish off just as well as you did today.
Thank you.
Don't mumble your words. Okay? You have anything?
No.
All right, why don't we go over and have a l'chaim?
Good idea. Hi, my name is Avi. Welcome to my bar mitzvah, Parshat Re'eh. I am so happy that you'll be able to share in my simcha. Well, at first, most of my friends started coming over, and then I came to the rabbis. They all came over, my uncles and aunts and cousins, and it was just a coincidence that my grandparents, both of them were last. They both came at the same time, and they had both gave me an interview for their own tape, and I felt a little weird, and I got used to it, and there a lot of pictures being taken, and I appreciated it a lot. It was a lot of fun. In the beginning, I was very nervous, but at the end, it was all better. I wasn't nervous at all. I made no mistakes, first time ever, because every time I practiced, I'd always make at least one mistake. And my teacher, was right next to me and said, for the first time in my life, I didn't make a mistake once. It felt good. It felt very good. At the end, I felt relieved. And then I felt a little sad because I wasn't going to get too much attention then.
Well, so far, come here, Ephraim. Come on. Ephraim wants candy. All this food here, and all he wants is some candy. Now, both Goldie and I are very proud of Avi, and we wish him a mazel tov. And I guess this is the beginning of his adulthood, which I hope that he will continue to grow and mature in the same manner that he has exhibited in the past. That's about it. And I'll be glad when all this is over. You want to pretend you're a band leader? This is your chance. You're always doing it in front of the mirror. You have a chance now. Yeah, you can record, hit it. Nope.
Congratulations to the whole family.
Mazel tov, you were great, Avi. Mazel tov, Avi.
Great food, Avi.
Mazel tov in your bar mitzvah, Avi. Mazel tov, Avi. And remember, I'm gonna always look down on you.
It's all right.
To my son, wherever he is. Oh, hello, son. What's his name? Avi Moshe, right. Mazel tov, Avi Moshe. I was very proud of you yesterday during Shabbos laning, and I'm very proud of you right now. There he is, Avi Moshe. I'm very proud of you. Come here, Avi. Are you proud of me, too?
Yeah.
Good. We're proud of each other. Can I stop? Is this all right? Okay.
And say mazel tov to your brother.
Shame on you. Mazel tov, brother.
What else do you want to say to your brother? Tell me you did a great job.
You did a great job.
All right.
A wonderful, good job, and we're proud of you. This is Tante Fela.
Okay, Mazel tov, Avi. You're a really great friend, and I wish you a lot of luck.
Happy bar mitzvah and Mazel tov. Have a great time.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, Avi.
Say something besides mazel tov.
Hi, Avi. Congratulations on your bar mitzvah. Avi, congratulations on your bar mitzvah. And Mazel tov.
Yes, I want to wish the whole entire family a hearty Mazel tov. Should have a lot of nachas, and we should be able to be on his wedding. God should help us. Okay, I'm a cousin. My husband would like that young lady over there.
I'm still on. Mazel tov, congratulations to the Bar Mitzvah boy, to the whole family. I'm the other half, incidentally. And like she say, we'll see you at his wedding. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, this is Uncle Yaakov, wishing you a good gezin besam yershim auf der Chasana mit way mal beshul. Very mine on mine.
Mazel tov, Avi. I'm having a great time.
As most of you are aware, yesterday was Avi Moshe's bar mitzvah. And as I was watching him laying the parsha, I was overcome with a tremendous feeling of something. I'm not sure what. But it was a rather emotional feeling, which I'm sure those of you who have had children who either bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah, or you've gone through some type of simcha similar to that, you know the feeling, or the parents of even the grown children who are here, who have seen their children married and grandchildren born. It's a great feeling. It represents a milestone in the life of Goldie and myself. On one aspect that maybe we don't want to look at, we're getting older, and the other one that Avi Moshe is now, this is the beginning of his entrance into adulthood. And in celebrating his bar mitzvah, naturally in this section of this portion of the Sudas Mitzvah, what we'd like to do is have certain people who know him, or people who know his family, or even some people who don't like him, to come up and say a few words, just expressing their feelings about this day and about his bar mitzvah. So I have a list of a few people, not too many, and the first person that I would like to call to speak is Rabbi Michelle. Rabbi Michelle is the dean of Avi's Yeshiva, the Adolf Schreiber Hebrew Academy of Rockland.
You heard the introduction about the various kinds of people that will be speaking here this afternoon. I want to assure you I don't belong into that group that doesn't like Avi Moshe. As a matter of fact, I am more than delighted to have the opportunity, at least today, if I didn't have it yesterday, to be with the family and to celebrate a bar mitzvah of a young man of whom not only the parents are proud, but all those who know him. And we in the yeshiva are very, very proud of Avi Moshe as a young man who is not only pleasant, who is not only hardworking, and not only has a good sense of humor, but he is also genuinely committed to Yiddishkeit, committed to be a nice human being, modeling for himself the traditions that he has seen in his home, in his parental home, and I'm sure in his grandparents' homes as well. It is a very special privilege to be here and to share with you a brief thought for this occasion. Yesterday, when we read the portion of the week, we started out recalling that God, and through Moshe, addresses Am Yisrael saying, I am placing before you a bracha. There's a blessing that I give you. And certainly, when you look at a young man entering the bar mitzvah in a manner that Avi Moshe does, we all agree that God has placed before us a bracha. He's placing before us a real blessing. But speaking of that blessing that God placed before us, immediately thereafter, the Torah describes a commandment where the covenant between God and Israel has to be renewed upon Israel's entry into Eretz Yisrael. As soon as Israel is to enter Eretz Yisrael, God says, make sure that we will renew the covenant at the mountains of Har Gerizim and Har Eival, where you will place the bracha and the alternate to the bracha before Am Yisrael as an acceptance or reacceptance of the first covenant that was made between God and Israel on Mount Sinai. And the Torah took special trouble in describing how to find the place where that covenant is to be renewed. The Torah says, Achrei derech mevo hashemesh be'eretz haknani hayoshev ba'arava. Let me describe to you, says the Torah, where you should go and how you should find the place. The place that they are discussing was the city of Shechem, where the famous two mountains, Har Gerizim and Har Eival, are. And the Torah describes it in rather obscure fashion, in a fashion that no person who is inclined to know geography would find it easy to recognize. Achrei derech mevo hashemesh be'eretz haknani. It's not Eretz Knani that Shechem belonged to, it was Eretz Hachivi. Hayoshev ba'arava. What kind of a indefinite description is this if we are to find the place where the covenant is to be renewed? The Gemara in Sota was concerned with that description. And the Gemara in Sota says, in the name of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Lo bo hakosuf, elo laharos lahen derech bashniya, kederech shehera lahen barishona. The pasuk says Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov does not come to tell you where Shechem is and where the place of the bracha is to take place in a geographical sense. But rather it comes to tell you how to get there in the same fashion as they went previously, where God straightened out the road for them and they marched through the desert. Here too they have to be careful how to get there. How to get there. And the Gemara goes on and gives us three conditions how to get there, and I would like to elaborate on these three conditions. Derech, says the Gemara, baderech lechu velo basodos ukromi. When the Torah says achrei derech, the Torah means to say, you know how to get to a place where you can renew your covenant with God? When you march on the wide road and you take the proper care not to step on anyone's field and not to destroy anyone's vineyard. What the Torah tells us here in simple terms, sometimes there are people who are so enthusiastic about rushing to the place where I am going to renew my covenant, my vows with God, that on the way to that place, they step over everything that is precious. They step over fields, they step over vineyards, and they trample things on the road. They are so excited with going to the place where I am going to renew the covenant. We too live in a time where people are concerned with rushing as fast as we can to the place where we will renew the covenant. Sometimes it is even young people who rush as fast as they can to become bar mitzvah, but on the road there, everything that is sacred and everything that is precious is trampled, destroyed. And even adults sometimes, and even when they go with all intent and sincerity, are sometimes careless about going with the proper manner, being careful not to step on anybody. How often is it that when some institution wants to take credit for its own greatness, takes trouble of denigrating somebody else rather than improving oneself? Baderech lechu velo basodos ukromim. When you go to a holy place, when you go to do mitzvahs, you go to renew your covenant, be sure that you will not touch anybody in a negative fashion. That's not enough. There's a second condition. Hayoshev ba'arava, says the Gemara, Hayoshev. What does the word Yoshev come to teach us? Beyishuv lechu velo b'midbarios. You should walk through settled land and don't walk through wastelands, through desert. What does this come to say? Many of us have seen this. People rushing to the place where you renew the covenant, making sure that they will be lonely by themselves, running away from people, making sure that they will not confront people nor ideas. They will go bar midbar, at a place where they have no challenges to meet, not the yishuv, where they may be confronted by other people, by other ideas, by other concerns. Torah says if you want to renew a covenant with God, expose yourself to other people. Don't be afraid of other ideas. Come with your personal strength. And there is a third condition. Ba'arava. And the Gemara says, what does Ba'arava mean? Ba'arava means straight land. What does that come to imply? It comes to imply velo behorim ugvaos. Don't jump up the mountains and then descend into the valleys. There are people who reach heights for 1 minute and they reach on the peak of the mountain and right thereafter they go down below. Keep on a steady pace. Keep on a consistent road. Keep straight, not the ups and downs in life. It's easy to come to a moment of a bar mitzvah if thereafter there's nothing following. Ba'arava means keep straight all along. What is special about today's bar mitzvah is that all three conditions have been met. The condition of marching towards renewal of covenant with God since the first bris of Avi Moshe to the bris HaMitzvos today, there is a constant marching with a care of being concerned not to hurt anybody, not to step over anybody, to be kind and considerate, to be genuine. The Ellman family, ever since they marched into this community, quietly, without fanfare, have become involved in helping and doing things for the community. And in doing so, always making sure I will not step on anybody's field, I will not step on anybody's toes, I will not hurt anybody on the road. And they marched through Yishuv, not separating themselves and enclosing themselves and being by themselves, but with people and for people, confronting ideas, confronting challenges. And that's why they can see the kind of family that they are raising. And more importantly and finally, they marched Ba'arava, consistently, with a steady pace, without jumping up and down in an inconsistent manner. Today I'm a tzaddik, next minute I'm somebody else. I am the same person all along, with the same commitment all along. I am delighted, therefore, to be part of this kind of a simcha, and to be part of a simcha that introduces the first boy in the Ellman family to the great enthusiastic and emotional moment of having a bar mitzvah in the family. You have our warmest wishes on behalf of the yeshiva, and may you continue to go Baderech, Bayishuv, and Ba'arava, and have much nachas. You and the grandparents, the Constants, and the Ellmans, and the whole family. Mazel tov.
It's got a message. Some of you may know that I've had slight involvement in amateur wrestling, and a number of my former wrestlers are here. One of them was supposed to be here, who was not. It was Mitchell Merlis. And we just got the word that the reason is his wife just went into labor. She's having twins. At this time, I'd like to call upon the rabbi of the Young Israel of Monsey, our shul, Avi Moshe shul, Rabbi Nussin Fromowitz. He's also the executive director of the Yeshiva Spring Valley.
I feel extremely privileged to participate in this beautiful simcha. I had the opportunity yesterday to say a few words about the Balei HaSimcha, the Ellman family, and I was fortunate later on in the afternoon to get to meet personally the Ellman family, going back to Neil's parents and Goldie's parents, the Goldstam family. And to me, it was a revelation that showed where Neil and Goldie are coming from, the reason for their commitment and their background. We know Chazal tell us that there's a concept of la yamush, that if the Torah does not depart for 3 generations, mipicha, mipi zaracha, or mipi zera zaracha, if one has that link over that period of time, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol gives us that added blessing that Torah will continue for all generations in the future. I have not known Avi Moshe as an educator. I have had the privilege of observing him in the shul, of seeing him daven, of seeing his intensity of purpose, of realizing that this is a very special child that is growing up in very special surroundings. Yesterday I spoke of the commitment that Neil, as the president of the Young Israel, has had to the shul, and Goldie, I'm sure in the background, has encouraged him and given him the opportunity to give of himself to such an extent. While we were standing yesterday at the simcha of the bar mitzvah, some of the members of the shul came over and they had a problem. with some of the internal politics that I'm sure you're all aware exist even in the young Israel. And in the middle of the Simcha, Neil was contending, as he does in his fine manner, with the difficulties that had arisen. I think it says something about him, about his family, and about that very special commitment. The Bachar HaBar Mitzvah, Avi Moshe, today has taken upon himself the Ol HaMitzvos, the yoke of the commandments. It is a very special time in a young man's life when he reaches that threshold. One of the most difficult objectives that we have as Jews is to keep alive that sense of inspiration, that sense of emotional feeling that one has when someone encounters something for a very first time. We know in yesterday's Sedra that we read, and that Avi Moshe read so beautifully, Rei Anochi Nosim Lefnechem Hayom, we see the terminology of the word Hayom. The Torah tells us today, Moshe Rabbeinu was speaking to Klal Yisrael on that particular day, but he was expressing a universal message that was to be kept for all time. That the aspect of Riyeh that we discussed yesterday was to be a feeling that was to permeate one's life in the same manner of Hayom, today. That same inspiration, that same feeling, and that same emotional commitment to the observance of the Torah, not as something that I have done before, but Kol Yom Kichadoshos, every single day with a sense of renewal, with a sense of renewed commitment. And we are certain that with the background and the upbringing that Avi Moshe has been privileged to have, and I am certain that he appreciates it, will give us that wonderful nachas and that inspiration that is required of all of us, that sense of feeling that we are facing every day anew. And it is my privilege to wish on behalf of the young Israel, behalf of the Shul, that owes a great deal of gratitude to the Ellman Mishpacha, to the Ellman family, and to wish them a hearty Mazel Tov on the occasion of this Bar Mitzvah of Avi Moshe.
I was going to give a Devar Torah now, but Rabbi Froman has just read my notes. So rather than repeat it, what I'd like to do now is call upon someone who's an old friend. His name is Jonathan Dzik, Dr. Jonathan Dzik. Johnny and I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I think I went to Johnny's bar mitzvah. I think I may have. I know he went to mine. And he went up to New York to go to school. We parted company for a long while. And then we ended up living in the same three-family house in Riverdale when I first got married. And he's been to a lot of my simchas, and I to his. And I just thought it would be nice. He knows Avi Moshe very well. And I thought it would be nice if he said a few words.
Thank you, Neil. I'm glad so many of us are here to share your simcha today, Avi Moshe. And perhaps fewer of us were present 13 years ago on August 18th, 1974, on that Sunday morning when we celebrated the simcha of your bris. But I'm going to go back a little bit further than that. Except for your grandparents from Chattanooga, I'm probably the only one present today who was at your father's bar mitzvah in July of 1958 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we do go back a long, long time. Many of you have probably seen a travel guide called the Jewish Travel Guide, especially if you needed it to travel to particular places in the United States and in Europe. Most of you probably never needed to consult it for travel to or through Chattanooga, Tennessee. But there's one glaring omission from that Jewish travel guide. Because if you ever need, or needed, or will need, in the near or hopefully distant future, a kosher meal, or a nice, hospitable place to stay for Shabbos or Yontif, more than any shul or any delicatessen or any restaurant, what should be listed in the Jewish travel guide is the home of Morris and Ruth Ellman as the stalwarts of Orthodox Judaism in Chattanooga, Tennessee for 25 to 30 years. And Avi Moshe, I know your grandparents a lot longer than you do, and I've probably spent more Shabbosim in their home than you have. And it's a great privilege to have known them and to be part of that, that community. Moving back a little bit to the present, about 14 and a half years ago, one day my wife and I received an invitation in the mail. I remember it came on Shabbos because we couldn't open it, and we saw a name on the back of the envelope that we did not recognize, and the name said Constam. And I said, Sue, we don't know anybody by the name of Constam. Why would we be getting an invitation? You could tell it was an invitation because of the printing from Constam. Who is Constam? And we had all Shabbos to think about it. And Shabbos night, we opened up the envelope, and we found out who Constam was. It was a family to whom your father was marrying, a wonderful girl named Goldie, who eventually became your mother, and we were privileged to attend the wedding. And we got to know a little bit of the other side of your family. And as your father just stated, for about 4 years in the late 1970s, we lived in a three-family house together. You lived on the third floor, you're Kohanim. We have a family present here today who lived on the second floor. Their name is Levi, they're Levium. We're Yisroel, we lived on the ground floor, the lowest. And what I remember most about that three-family home where we lived for 4 years was a sukkah. We bought what we thought at that time was a pretty big sukkah, which we decided to share together. And the first year it was very comfortable. And a year later, we had another addition to the family, and a year later, Shammai was born, and you had another addition to the family, but the sukkah stayed the same size. And as our families kept growing and the sukkah stayed the same size, we realized something's got to happen, and eventually we both moved. We both still live in New York State, and in a certain sense, although Chattanooga and Cincinnati are very close in the alphabet, two fine families from Chattanooga and Cincinnati merged and wound up in New York, and we're all here together to share your simcha. So all I hope, from a personal point of view, is someday we'll be able to attend your chuppah, as we were privileged to attend your parents' chuppah, and in which I was given one of the Sheva brachos, and I still remember that, Neil and Goldie. And going beyond that, to the grandsons or granddaughters of Neil and Goldie, to keep it through the generations. So a very special mazel tov from me and from my family to you, Avi Moshe, and to the Ellman and to the Constam family.
Right now, I'd like to call on another one of Avi Moshe's teachers who he's especially close with, and someone who I was friends with before I was married or went to school with, Rabbi Sidney Schimmel.
I really don't like standing right here, but when I used to watch Neil wrestle, he alluded to it. One of the things that you would notice was that Neil operated on his own time frame. Still sort of does, as a matter of fact. If you talk to Neil, you have to temporarily forget normal time. Things go at a little bit more of an ambling pace. When he used to wrestle, he would amble onto the mat, and wait for some kind of a move from his opponent. And then, of course, once that move occurred, you had bang, a fireman's carry, you had a 10-second pin. I mean, it was incredible. But for the moment, there was that ignoring of the regular time. Now, Avi has that also, it turns out. Avi Moshe has his own sense of time. It doesn't always happen to go quite the same way that his dad's did. I mean, sometimes, for example, there will be an assignment, and Avi, using his own time frame, will get that assignment in eventually. I see where the genetic strain rests. But Avi has something else. Now, maybe Neil has it. I never knew. Avi has a rather incredible sense of humor. I didn't see it in Neil, so I'm going to have to assume that this is Goldie's genetic strain. And I thought about Avi's sense of humor. Nowadays, as a matter of fact, if you go to the psychology conventions, you're going to find that there are dozens of papers being given on the psychology of humor and on laughter. Turns out that the classic study, the classic paper, is about 25, 30 years old, put out by a fellow from the University of London. I couldn't have made this name up, J.C. Flugel. And he put out a paper on humor. And among the things that he discussed, well, he said that a person with a really good cognitive developed sense of humor indicates a person with a really good cognitive development. It's correlated with IQ. It's correlated with good self-image. It's correlated with all sorts of wonderful kinds of psychological factors. We see that, of course, in Avi Moshe. It also turns out, by the way, that by looking at the way the humor is directed, we're also able to come out and derive certain aspects of the personality besides. And we know Avi Moshe well enough, and we know his sense of humor well enough to see that that really is the case, too. Of course, Professor Flugel wasn't the first guy to have said this, because our Gemara said it a bunch of years before